If I were to define the evolution of the Huawei Nova series in recent years, two phrases come to mind. It's about the back that looks like a purse and metallic rings around the camera, as well as the best selfie camera on the market, or at least the one with the highest resolution. In 2025, the paradigm seems to be shifting, and the phone presented in Dubai offers a highly desirable main camera. It raises the bar for mid-range devices priced slightly higher at $749. But you don't get to see every day a 60 megapixel selfie camera, along with one featuring 2x optical zoom next to it, and a main camera with variable aperture. On top of that, an elegant green back with a 3D pattern inspired by Loden wool and also inspired by the Pure series, apparently. On top of that, an elegant green back with a 3D pattern inspired by Loden wool and the Pura series, an IP certification and a large OLED screen. Plus a battery that charges quickly, plenty of RAM, and the ability to personalize the lock screen with stickers of your loved ones or your cat. Huawei Nova 13 Pro has taken part of the aesthetics of the Pura 70 series and part from the Nova series, blending them together with inspiration. The result is just as comfortable and ergonomic as a Pura, solidly built, and still maintains a fashion-forward approach without falling into kitsch with exaggerated golden rings around the camera. Now, there is a metallic ring around the oval camera module that exudes elegance, discreet even with the repeated Nova logo. The symmetry of the sensor and flash placement are also worth noting. In the Loden green color, the phone feels great to the touch with a 3D pattern on the back. Apparently, both the texture and color are inspired by a special green wool used for making sweaters, evoking a sense of earthiness, calmness, and peace of mind. The camera ring is called the Superstar Orbit Ring, featuring a 3D glass structure that emphasizes the presence of the camera. The metallic ring adds a slight shine to an otherwise matte back that resists fingerprints. The phone is also available in black, white, and purple. To be honest, it resembles a Pura 70, and that's a compliment. It has a grippy texture, a solid build, and almost transcends the idea of a mid-range device. It also uses glass and aluminum, with slightly rounded edges. I like how the shadows and light play on the back, and the fact that the matte finish doesn't draw fingerprints. The phone measures 7.82mm in thickness and weighs 209 grams. It also comes with an IP65 certification for water and dust resilience. It is 0.1mm thicker and 8 grams heavier than its predecessor. Huawei Nova 13 Pro retains the same screen size and panel type as its predecessor, a 6.76-inch LTPO OLED display. It supports 1 billion colors, HDR, and has a refresh rate that goes up to 120 Hz. The resolution is 2776 over 1224 pixels, and it comes with aluminosilicate glass protection. It also features a 300 Hz touch sampling rate for extra responsiveness, and since it's an LTPO panel, it can drop down to 1 Hz when displaying static content. The screen is curved on all four corners, creating an immersive experience. Even the pill-shaped cutout for the dual selfie camera doesn't break the immersion. While watching a few shows and movies on this display, I found the colors rich, the view angles wide, and the brightness excellent. Even during an Uber ride to an event with sunlight streaming through the windows, visibility remained perfect. In a luximeter test, it reached 991 lux, higher than the Huawei Nova 11 Pro, Nova 12 SE, and even the Honor 200. However, it falls below the Honor Magic 6 Lite, Magic 7 Lite, and Nothing Phone 2. However, it's placed below the Honor Magic 6 Lite, Magic 7 Lite, and Nothing Phone 2A. There's also an AI eye comfort feature that intelligently detects ambient light, recognizes the images you're viewing, and adjusts the blue light levels to reduce eye strain. The artificial intelligence controls every pixel on the screen. Additional features include low blue light and circadian night dimmer modes, which make colors warmer before bedtime to protect your sleep quality. Huawei Nova 13 Pro is equipped with an octa-core processor, possibly the Kirin 8000, well, not officially confirmed, built on a 7nm process. It also comes with 12 gigs of RAM and a Mali G6110 graphics unit. Performance is mid-range, delivering decent results in both processor and graphics tests. It does not suffer from significant throttling, losing only 7% of its performance after a 15-minute stress test. Temperatures remain under 30 degrees Celsius after benchmark testing and reach 32.8 degrees after 15 minutes of gaming. During charging, it stays at around 37.6 degrees Celsius. The Huawei Nova series has always stood out from its rivals in one key area: charging speed. The Huawei Nova 13 Pro continues this tradition with ultra-fast 100-watt wired charging, though the adapter is no longer included in the box. So how did the 5000 mAh battery perform in our tests? Let's find out. For video playback, it achieved 22 hours and 15 minutes, an impressive score that slightly surpasses the likes of Vivo X90 Pro, Galaxy A55, Honor 90 and even Xiaomi 14T Pro. It ranks 66th out of 630 in the battery endurance leaderboard, just below models like the Galaxy S24 Fan Edition and Honor 200 Pro. In the continuous usage test, the phone lasted 14 hours and 51 minutes, which is a solid result. It outperforms the Xiaomi 12, Vivo X80 Lite, Honor Magic 6 Pro and Xiaomi 14T Pro. As far as charging is concerned, using a Huawei 90W adapter, a full charge took only 30 minutes. After just 5 minutes, the battery was already at 31% and in 15 minutes it reached 65%. Additionally, the device supports wired reverse charging at 5 watts, allowing it to charge other gadgets. The phone features stereo speakers but does not have a headphone jack. That's not a huge loss considering how good the new Huawei FreeBuds Pro 4 true wireless earbuds are. Otherwise, the volume is impressive, the sound is clean, the bass is sufficient and the highs are powerful. The audio really stands out from these speakers, as confirmed by our decibel meter tests. It ranks second all time out of 500 tested phones, reaching nearly 90 decibels in the acoustic sample test. In gaming, it's slightly more restrained, but still extremely loud, peaking at 96 decibels. I recommend moderation, or you might disturb those around you. On the connectivity side, this Nova 13 Pro includes an infrared emitter, Bluetooth 5.2, an USB-C 2.0 port, 4G support, Wi-Fi 6, dual-band GPS, GLONASS, BDS, Galileo, QZSS and Navic. It also has NFC. The device is limited to 4G+, since Huawei no longer has access to the 5G modems due to restrictions imposed by the United States. It supports 4G+ and VoLTE LTE, at least on the Orange network. Call quality is loud and clear with no complaints. Speed test results in the DG network in Romania reach 744 megabits per second for download and 709 megabits per second for upload. That's using a 1 gigabit per second subscription. In the Orange network, the phone recorded 71.8 megabits per second for download and 19.8 megabits per second for upload, tested in a specific area. The results could have been better even for 4G. With the infrared emitter, you can control your TV, air conditioner and other household appliances. Software-wise, the phone runs on EMUI 14.2 based on Android and comes with Huawei App Gallery, which features over 220,000 applications. This makes it the third most popular app store in the world. Once you install any Google app from it, whether it's YouTube, Maps, Google Search or Gmail, MicroG is automatically installed, giving you access to Google services. Logging into your Google account in one of those apps signs you in to all of them, keeping your YouTube playlists, Google Map reviews and shared documents in Docs, Sheets and Slides accessible. There's also the Gbox solution, which grants access to the Play Store and allows you to download apps like Netflix, HBO Max. You can create interactive wallpapers, including stickers generated from images of your cat or loved ones. A privacy center is also available to protect your data, including sensitive information in document photos. In the Gallery app, AI-based expression lets you choose the best facial expression from a series of consecutive shots. The in-display fingerprint reader is fast and accurate with no complaints. The leftmost home screen aggregates news, useful shortcuts, and a search bar at the top. The quick settings, now called Control Panel, manages both your phone and connected devices through Super Device. A pre-installed Optimizer app helps manage resources, scan for malware, and clean up memory. Bing also comes pre-installed, providing access to Copilot and artificial intelligence features. Huawei Assistant is present, offering AI-powered functions such as AI Voice, AI Lens, AI Touch, AI Tips, AI Search, and Today, which refers to the leftmost home screen mentioned earlier. There's also advanced customization for themes and always-on display, along with the well-known Huawei Magazine Unlock. The phone supports a sidebar for floating apps and multitasking, as well as split-screen mode. Additionally, settings allow for an extra 3 gigs of RAM to be allocated from storage. Things get complicated when it comes to the camera. This setup is so capable that even a flagship wouldn't mind having it. We're talking about a dual front-facing camera, housed in a pill-shaped cutout, featuring a 60 megapixel main sensor, an ultra-wide sensor with autofocus and an f2.4 aperture, along with an 8 megapixel portrait telephoto camera with an f2.2 aperture and 2x optical zoom. The selfie camera records in 4K at 30 frames per second. On the back, there is also that stunning oval module with a 50 megapixel main sensor featuring a variable aperture, ranging from f1.4 to f4.0. It also comes with PDAF and optical image stabilization. Then, there is a 12 megapixel telephoto camera with 3x optical zoom and an f2.4 aperture. The third camera is an 8 megapixel ultra-wide sensor with autofocus and an f2.2 aperture. And that's not all. We also get two LED flashes, warm and cool, along with a laser autofocus module and a color spectrum sensor, plus 4K video recording at 30 frames per second. The camera interface includes options like panorama, high resolution, slow motion, document, pro, time-lapse, story creator, and vlog, with special vlog modes. These include showcase focus, which is great for presenting a product in front of the camera, follow focus, which tracks a moving subject, portrait video, and AI color, which turns the background black and white while keeping the subject in color. There's also macro video, AI super macro, portrait with stage contour cutouts, and 3 special capture modes, plus night mode and aperture. The front camera zooms up to 5x for those moments when you want to capture something remarkable over your shoulder. Macro shots can be taken as close as 2 cm, while the portrait mode includes natural, delicate, and stylish sub-modes. As for recommended aperture settings, f1.4 is best for portraits, f2.0 works well for pets and landscapes, and f4.0 is ideal for group photos. And now let's take a look at the photo gallery captured by my colleague. The location, the western part of Bucharest, the capital of Romania. The weather was perfect. What I noticed from the get-go is a color difference between the various zoom levels of the telephoto camera. I prefer what it delivers at 3x, and I had a little fun watching how that man and his stubborn dog were captured. I really like the red tones here. They look rich and vibrant. Beyond 3x and up to 3x, the colors seem slightly cooler. The ultra-wide camera struggles more with details due to its lower resolution and tends to stretch cars towards the edges, even before they actually reach the frame's border. The zoom continues to impress me, even at 5x and 10x. I'm talking about that blue car surrounded by cranberries. I've seen Galaxy S models with 3x zoom and even iPhone 15 Pro models struggling in this scenario. We also got some memorable macro shots of frost-bitten fruit, though they don't always come out perfect on the first try. A few attempts are needed, and we're still a step below the Honor 200 series. However, with a steady hand and patience, comparable results are achievable. The camera captures a lot of light, there's never a lack of it in the frame, and this comes without the compromise of overexposure. On the other hand, the colors of the fans I photographed seemed oversaturated, almost too intense under direct sunlight. Selfies have excellent subject-background separation with bokeh and outstanding details. You can zoom in as much as you want and still see every individual eyelash of the subject, every little reflection in their eyes, every wrinkle in the fabric of their hat, and every crease on their forehead. It's one of the most detailed selfie captures I've seen in recent times. When you zoom in, there's a sudden cooling of colors and a bluish tint appears, though in the black background mode, some of the scenery still shows through the subject's glasses. Shadow play, lighting effects, and detailed facial expressions, well, selfies capture all of these beautifully. Going back to the main camera, I admire the sharpness of the shots, the way vegetation is exposed, and the textures of plants captured up close. Walls, snow, metal, wood, every texture seems to benefit from an image signal processor that applies artificial intelligence, processing it in a subtle and realistic way rather than being overly aggressive. We can see individual threads in fabrics, the wood grain of a bench. Somehow, we managed to summon the spirit of the Pura 70 here to help us. To wrap this up, we also ended up with some great new profile pictures of my colleague thanks to the great selfie camera. Now, moving on to the nighttime shots, advanced zoom captures lose some quality. Light sources are amplified into large halos, some elongated, others circular and overly yellow. Some streetlights even turn into small stars with a glowing crown effect. Night mode helps correct the issue by balancing the light sources. The red fence around urban construction work is shockingly well calibrated. I'd even dare to say it looks better than in the daylight. Zoom remains solid at 2x and 3x, but beyond that it doesn't really surpass what a Galaxy A55 has to offer. Every time a bright logo appears oversaturated and overexposed, night mode kicks in on the next frame and fixes everything. Some street signs really are too bright with different shades of white, yellow and green. The fence at night, the colorful one, looked decent, as did the zoomed-in shots of a special metro station in that area called Romancerilor. I was also surprised that at 3x up to 5x advanced zoom, the colors and clarity sometimes exceeded what we got at 1x. Even the lighting was more accurate. The church near the park is the best example of this. However, moving objects don't freeze as they do on the Pura series. Instead, they create ghosting effects when photographed in motion. And now let's move on to the video capture. There are moments of clarity shifts between zoom levels, similar to what I remember seeing on the Galaxy S21 series, particularly on the base models. At 3x, there's a noticeable sharpening effect to show you that you've reached that threshold. Beyond 3x though, there's noticeable shaking and noise as well as just before hitting 3x. Selfie videos are shot in a wide-angle view, full of light, with great facial detail, but there's also some beauty mode applied to the subject's features. The background appears slightly overexposed at times. The stabilization test feels like it was shot with a flagship, and I have to highlight the microphones. You'd think the wind would overpower them, but if you listen carefully, you can even hear my colleague's breathing as he handles the phone. I also see a lot of detail in the trees, which mid-range phones usually struggle with. When it comes to colors, there's nothing to complain about. The palette isn't as wide as on the Huawei Pura 70 or as accurate as on the Huawei Mate X6, but at least there's no excessive oversaturation, except for certain shades on that multicolored fence, particularly the green and yellow. The blue and red tones seem fine. The second selfie video was even more expressive, capturing every facial feature perfectly, and the background was much better in terms of detail and clarity. A wide angle and zoom test was also done, and for a moment it felt like my colleague had been transported into a 90s hip-hop video, one of those where the camera suddenly zooms in on the rapper's face for dramatic effect. The horizontal selfie video is on par with the main camera, especially in terms of focus, color accuracy, detail, lighting and stabilization. Even the zoom performs well. The focus test was also handled decently, with precision and speed working seamlessly when switching between the faucet and the background. And yes, we even tested close-up video recording in case you're wondering, and it's shockingly good. At night, reflections and noise start to show up, and light sources flicker in front of the camera. Stabilization also struggles a bit when recording while walking. Some streetlights look like small suns, or rather oversized ones. The zoom on the church is decent, but jumps between levels of zoom, so I'd recommend filming in a static position with the phone. The final panoramic shot at the mall is pretty decent, though I still notice some ghosting and reflections there as well. So, is the end of the review, we reach the verdict. The Huawei Nova 13 Pro stands out with its excellent selfie camera, making it perfect for vlogging, selfies and even zoom shots. Whatever you throw at it, it will pass the test, even for video recording. Battery life is respectable, the audio quality exceeds expectations, and the display is incredibly bright and immersive. The phone charges in just 30 minutes, it's less flashy than its predecessors when it comes to the camera module, feels great to the touch, and delivers surprisingly good results at advanced zoom levels. It also excels at capturing textures in both photos and videos and provides solid stabilization for daytime video recording while walking. The variable aperture helps create stunning portrait shots, and the device is both IP certified and ergonomically designed. As far as the downsides are concerned, well, nighttime video capture isn't on par with the rest of the capabilities, and the ultra-wide camera's detail levels aren't particularly impressive. The processor isn't the freshest, so gaming should be approached with caution, and the Android version here is a bit dated. There's no charger in the box, and this EMUI is 14.2, not the new EMUI 15 found on the new Huawei Mate X6. Of course, there's also the lack of 5G support and the absence of more artificial intelligence features, which have become the new standard. Personally, I can do without most of them, but users have grown accustomed to having them. I recommend this phone to those who love taking and recording selfies more than anything else. Otherwise, it would be a shame not to take full advantage of such impressive selfie cameras. Not just one, but two. The device is designed and built around the selfie experience, but it's also equipped with a highly capable main camera. It doesn't disappoint when it comes to media consumption or battery life either, so when you're not creating vlogs, you'll be able to enjoy watching them. The elegance of the design and the feel of the back panel are underrated until you actually hold the phone in your hands. The price is only going to drop over time, and the Google-related limitations are no longer an issue, if you know where to look for information. At the end of the day, the Huawei Nova 13 Pro is a chic phone for travelers and young people who want to express themselves and aren't afraid to show their faces when doing so. It has the potential to be the voice of an entire generation, and the fact that it comes bundled with a solid pair of FreeBuds 5 headphones in some countries is just the cherry on top. This is GSMDome.com, see you next time.